Donald Trump responded to the incident, to the attempt on his life on Truth Social twice last night and then once today, so we will read these. So this is the one that came out last night. I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. Of course, this was tweeted or truthed, if you will, last night. Since then, more information has, of course, come to light. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong, in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. Then, 7:36 this morning, thank you to everyone for your thoughts and prayers yesterday, as it was God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening. We will fear not, but instead remain resilient in our faith and defiant in the face of wickedness. Our love goes out to the other victims and their families. We pray for the recovery of those who were wounded and hold in our hearts the memory of the citizen who was so horribly killed. In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true character as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win. I truly love our country and love you all, and look forward to speaking to our great nation this week from Wisconsin. Signed, DJT. He then tweets out today, based on yesterday's terrible events, I was going to delay my trip to Wisconsin and the Republican National Convention by 2 days, but have just decided that I cannot allow a shooter or potential assassin to force change to scheduling or anything else. Therefore, I will be leaving for Milwaukee as scheduled at 3:30 p.m. today. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. And I think given the pace of the show here, it would behoove us to fold these segments into one, Russell. So I'm going to put this up now because he is in Milwaukee right now. His plane has touched down in Milwaukee just before we went on the air. And the Republican convention is this week. And here is a partial lineup of the most high-profile speakers there. The RNC and Trump campaign have just released their speakers for the convention next week in Milwaukee, so this was tweeted out yesterday before the shooting happened, when this was the big news. Some of the speakers are Trump himself, obviously. Tucker Carlson is speaking on the night Trump speaks, so Tucker Carlson has a very high-profile speaking slot here. Vivek Ramaswamy, Ben Carson, J.D. Vance, who... smart money now is that he is the VP pick. Don Jr. tweeted out an old campaign video of J.D. Vance, and Trump Jr. is speaking at the convention right in front of the VP selection. So that's another example of a story that would have been big tonight were it not for what happened. Carrie Lake, Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I guess Kristi Noem got the snub over the dog incident. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Don Jr., Eric, Laura, East Palestine, Ohio Mayor Trent Conaway.
I heard it was the OnlyFans account.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. And the Trump aide, fresh out of prison, obviously, Peter Navarro. So Trump tweeting out his thanks to the rallygoers, to the Secret Service for a job, I guess, ultimately well done enough to avoid his death, although not well done, as we are going to see in the grand scheme of things. And now he is in Milwaukee for the Republican convention. Obviously, this was not scripted this way, but from a political standpoint, you could not draw this up any better. And that's why I say this election is over as over gets. It's done.
Right.
It's
right before
done.
The convention now this happened.
The next speech he gives is his convention speech. I mean, you literally could not have drawn this up in a way that was more politically beneficial to Donald Trump and just absolutely devastating to a Democratic Party that was running on fumes anyway. They had no real nominee. They were going back and forth at the highest levels of the party. Do we keep our nominee or do we scrap our nominee? That was the most seismic political story in decades, and now even that seems like it's irrelevant. It seems totally irrelevant. But no matter what they do, they have no hand to play at this point. The next time we all see Donald Trump will be on stage at the Republican convention in a speech that was already set to do huge numbers. That is going to be a record-setting speech in terms of viewership. How could it not be? So, you know, this election is on ice. It's over. It's done. And for the country, now you're looking at the kind of Republican hegemony that we thought we were in for in 2022. Roe v. Wade got in the way of that. There's nothing in the way of that now. There's nothing in the way of that now. And the other part of this, and I mentioned this on Jimmy's show too, is that this event turned Trump's greatest political vulnerability into perhaps his greatest political asset now, which is that because of this, Trump is now the unity candidate. Trump is now the off-ramp to civil war, not the path to civil war. His greatest vulnerability going in is people like, this guy again, I don't know, chaos, trouble seems to follow him. Well, now the idea of uniting behind this guy seems to a lot of people now, I guarantee you, like the easy way out of domestic strife and violence and a very, very chaotic landscape that no one wants to live through. No one wants to live through that. And now Trump is the candidate that most represents the alternative to that.
Yeah. And I think the way the Democrats are reacting to this is not helping their cause. And I don't think because of the ground they're standing on, there is no good way they can react to this. And of course, not to mention, this obviously pushed it right off the front pages. You got a demented president. You got a demented president who doesn't want to leave the White House. Like, that instantly almost became a sideshow to the election. As you said, Biden, why drop out now? Why go through all the fuss of replacing Biden in an election that's over? Why go through all that maneuvering and wrangling delegates? Yeah, screw it. Just let him humiliate himself. I mean, there was reporting, which again nobody cares about now because this happened, that he did a conference call with the congressional caucuses, and he went brain freeze again. He went on the fritz in the middle of the call.
Yeah, somebody slipped him a note saying, you know, something to the effect of "chill out, you sound defensive," because he got a little testy, and he read that.
He started
to the
yelling
people.
at one of them.
And he read that to the people on the call.
He read the note?
He read, "Chill out, you're sounding defensive," or whatever it was. I forget what it was. But he read that to the people on the call.
I didn't hear that part.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, the election is pretty much over. J.D. Vance, that will be an interesting choice. You know, they can run on two white guys are better than one. Interesting that he felt absolutely no need to offer any bow to diversity considerations or not having the next theoretically 12 years be more white dudes in the White House, that he felt no need to grab a Tim Scott or something. I mean, we'll see. It's
not confirmed yet, but it looks like it looks pretty good for JD. I mean, why else would Donald Trump Jr. tweet out Vance's old Senate campaign ad and gas him up like that? I think his figuring is that, and you know, our friend Anish Shivani wrote a piece about how Vance was a smart pick, and I actually didn't think he was a smart pick, but I was convinced by that article. Originally, I thought a Tulsi or a Ramaswamy would be better for Trump.
I would have thought Tulsi. I would have thought he was going to go for Tulsi.
Well, because that broadens the base out. It really kind of breaks the back of the Democrats' coalition in terms of diversity and things like that. But when you think about it,
I would say she's more skillful on the mic than he is.
She is. But I think what his calculus is there, and again, who knows, this might even change because the dynamics of the race are not what they were 48 hours ago. But if you looked at the electoral map 48 hours ago, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona gets him right on the doorstep, but he still needs one of those firewall Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan.
Right.
I don't think he's going to have a problem getting those now, but
Right.
48 hours ago, J.D. Vance, being the hillbilly elegy guy from Ohio, which is demographically very similar to that Western Pennsylvania Trump country, like he may have thought Vance gave him the best boost in those 3 states that he needs.
Yeah.
So on
And
that front, it does
Tulsi
make
doesn't
sense.
bring anything on that level.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, he could be
Ohio's not a
considering
swing state,
her.
Landry, but those neighboring states are, and there's not much difference, demographically between the Youngstown, Ohio, and East Palestine. East Palestine is Ohio, but the Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh suburbs. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he could be considering her for national security advisor, or a role like that. I'd be surprised if he didn't offer her something in the cabinet, especially we'll know pretty soon, because if she starts campaigning for him, then she's going in the cabinet.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that is a reasonable assumption as well.
Please clap.